So we're going to go out there and check it out.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip board meeting. Today is September 6, 2022, and we're calling this meeting order at 7:31 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Belzo?
Here.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McGowan? Here. Trustee Murphy? Here. Trustee Navas Garza? Here. Trustee Coretta is absent. Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please transfer to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we start our officers' reports, sometimes I like to take things a little out of order and respect for different individuals we have in the room regarding village business. In this case, I know the city member, human resource and insurance. We've got we need to discuss the workman comp mitigation service. Trustee Murphy, can you please speak to your report, please, first? Sure. We'll move on with the rest of the reports after that.
I have the approval of a resolution appointing the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund Authorization Agent for the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois.
And again, just where everybody knows what that is too, board is our new HR person, Tony Fasano, needs to be appointed as that authorized agent for the IMRF. That's all that's referring to in that. But go ahead, trustee number 2.
Number 2 is the approval of the workman's comp mitigation services.
So we've got, go ahead, Tom.
Hello.
Tom, can I ask you please to speak in that?
Sure.
We record these meetings.
Certainly. So I believe everybody has the cost spreadsheet that we put together. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we were asked to put together, a simple. We had been had asked to look at some claims management, to approve results, and we received proposals from ComCore Pro, Optimal Recovery, and Ready Rebound. And what we were initially asked to do was just simply put together a cost comparison of each program.
I'm sorry, could you introduce yourself to him?
Oh, I'm sorry. Tom Wiedemann. I'm with Alliant Insurance.
I'm our insurance broker.
Yes.
With Alliant Insurance.
Correct. I'm sorry.
So, okay, Tom, so we've all got this in front of us on our packet screens here and so forth, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, I guess what we were asked to do was put this cost proposal together, and we were indicated that was going to be the basis of the decision. Mm-hmm. Now, we had talked about, for a more in-depth analysis, if we wanted to go beyond a cost analysis, we would recommend and suggest that we had each vendor give 10, 15-minute proposals, either to the board, to staff, or to the insurance committee. We had provided some supplemental materials about each service, because they each take a different approach to this service.
So I would agree with you, Tom.
Okay.
I know a lot of these, ladies and gentlemen, just so everybody understands what Mr. Wiedemann is referring to is there's a new standard or process rather, I guess you would say, Tom, in workman comp claims with third-party services that oversee your workman comp claims.
Yes.
That if you have an employee who's hurt at work, you've got a system or like a third-party doctor or an organization that's monitoring these claims that can basically, and a lot of my medical staff that can qualify why your person's off work. But the idea is we want to get our people back to work sooner than later.
Correct. That is correct.
We never used to. We've never hired before. This is the first time the village has ever done this yet too. This is a new practice that many municipalities and private industries.
Absolutely, yes.
And right now, we've narrowed it down to 3 particular contractors to do this kind of work.
Correct.
And certainly, their cost, when I was looking at these, as you said, they vary strongly.
Correct.
But certainly, it's hard to hash a lot of this out at a board meeting all the time. I said to Joyce, I appreciate what you put together as far as a packet goes for them too. Are you recommending that we have another meeting? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think if we want to get into the details of each service, I would suggest some sort of a separate meeting to give each vendor an opportunity to make a presentation and entertain questions, and again, whether it's before the full board or a subcommittee of the board.
Because I know the purpose of why the board asked for at least to put the numbers side by side, so at least we have an idea of what kind of expense we're talking about. And as we're looking at here, this can run anywhere from $5,000 annually to $25,000 annually.
Correct.
For these kind of
Yes.
services. And again, one person might be charging it per incident, where the other guy's covering the entire season. And stuff.
That correct.
So, you've got a valid situation here yet too, and basically I'm here to facilitate a meeting. We do have Trustee Murphy in this case. Trustee, you're the chairperson on the insurance committee. You want to establish it like a standalone meeting for yourself?
I think that'd be a great idea. I think we should give each vendor an opportunity to speak, and if we're going to purchase something, I want to know what it's about. So I think we should do that, and then before we move forward with this and compare apples to apples.
And Mr. Wiedemann, you know too, like when we first met, when you started managing our account for us and so forth, I was a little bit hard on our carrier. And I was stepping on their foot constantly, like, where's my guys? I'm missing 4 guys. I'm working the account. I need them back in. And we're finding out, while the broker can do just so much, it's these third-party organizations that have even more, as Fire Chief pointed out to us too. He's well aware of these programs as well too, that you have a qualified expert that can monitor these type of programs. And, when you're getting in a situation where, let's say, an employee that's out on working with comp says, hey, I can't get a doctor appointment for 6 months. Well, maybe we've got other sources to get you in
Right.
sooner.
Correct.
If you were playing pro ball someplace, you're going to be back on the court in 6-9 weeks.
Correct.
I'm waiting that long even to get an appointment, and then some of that too. So, our people are just as important as any pro ball player or anything else, and certainly their health is even more important to us.
Absolutely.
We want to try and get the best service, and obviously, I'll tell you, Mr. Frater, who manages our public works department, many of the departments, when we have somebody out just through collective bargaining agreements, I can't just replace those people and stuff then too. So we have to work short all the time, and it's reflected in how much we can get done. So I certainly can't hold it against department heads when they're doing what they can and they're working short. So, Trustee, I would agree with you. You can set that up and for a standalone meeting. Sure. And give yourself at least an hour and a half to try and hear. I should ask you, Tom, how long do you think it would take to hear the 3 companies out?
Well, I would cut them off because they all like to talk about their services. So if we gave each provider 15 minutes, I think that is ample time.
You need more than an hour for this.
I don't believe so. No.
Sounds good?
All right.
Good.
So we'll post that then. Mr. Reedman, thanks for coming out to
Absolutely.
speak to this and stuff then too. And that's why I want to hit you first. I know you're our agent
Yep.
and everything, but the rest of the meeting is just as important. But I want to
Okay.
be cognizant of your time.
I appreciate that.
It's called, we'll set that up for a future meeting. Probably, Chris, I don't know how fast you can set it up. It's probably going to be a couple of weeks before we get to that. Sure. Okay.
Mayor, isn't this something that the HR director should be facilitating, reviewing? I mean, he's
Oh, of course.
knowledgeable about it, and this is a program that the fire chief had already brought to our attention previously.
You know what, Trustee, fair question. I can ask the new HR person to at least filter this and see if there's a need. Maybe you can filter that out without even, if you can just gather the information on it. I know, as Tom just said, this might be a little repetitious, so much like a red light camera or anything else, it's the same process over and over.
Right. I mean, it seems to me that the HR director is more versed in this than I know I'll ever be. So I'd rather rely on his expertise than sit there and wade through the.
Certainly, he can sit in the meeting too and
Right.
speak to it and give his recommendation on what he thinks.
Well, you both make a great point, but I can actually, we have a new HR person who's been with us less than a month. I can ask Mr. Fasano if he can filter through these and maybe collectively put together a summary of what he.
Okay. Okay. And we've talked, I mean, Tony and I have talked about it
Okay.
already,
All right,
with Joyce, so we've started that process.
that's fine, but this way we can simplify the conversation.
Okay.
If we still need to formally, then too.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much.
So we'll go back to our reports on our agenda this evening. First on your agenda was my report. First thing on your agenda was the approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 4, alcoholic beverages and liquor control, Article 2, administration and enforcement, Division 2 license section 4-69, limitation on total number of licenses of the municipal code of the village of Alsip. Really all this was, board, was just a cleanup of a summary that my assistant Becky Smith put together that just tally all of the existing liquor licenses at this time. We have no available liquor licenses, right, Becky? And should we have new business come to town, we will create the liquor license as the need becomes necessary. Next, I'd like to report that my office has requested a significant support of Moore Street resurfacing when submitting the village's 2021 capital bill for local improvements. Where thanks to Governor Pritzker's office and George Tappas and his team at IDOT, recognized and qualified my request for $1 million worth of street resurfacing for next year. Public Works Superintendent Mike Prater and Village Engineer Will Dolan were an essential part of the application process and notified my office that the village is planning for a January 2023. No, it's a January letting for 2023, right, Will?
Correct.
Right, so we wouldn't see construction until 23, but this is just a typo, but this January is the letting when they actually qualify the expense, right, Will, for the construction?
It would be the actual bid.
The approval for it, or the bid, I should
Right,
say.
yeah, be the bid.
Thank you. It would be the bid for this spring construction. Due to the recent quarry strike, many contractors are behind schedule on projects that were supposed to be completed this year. And we understand that quite a few of the projects are going to carry over to the spring. Trying to construct this season is not realistic at this point, as we may incur very high unit prices. Hopefully the trend in decreasing gas prices will continue, and the village will get better project prices after the new year. Mr. Dolan will monitor how prices come in this fall to see if maybe we should bid the project before the holidays. Obviously, like Norris, what you're saying, before January. Right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, thanks much for all the work you've done on this, and Mike Prater, you as well too. I'm glad the state of Illinois recognized, and it's the hardest thing about any funding all the time is where we can get it, and certainly we appreciate resurfacing more streets. So we've got quite a few. $1 million doesn't go as far as you think, folks, but we've got a lot of streets picked out that we're going to try and tackle. Also, I'll wait till we get to the engineer's report. And finally, the update, I got an update last week, I should say, on the Warwick Township Transportation Program. Warwick Township has filled the role of Transportation Coordinator and 3 of the 5 available driver positions. PACE training is set for September 6th and 7th, so today and tomorrow. Warwick Township requested that the vans be made available as soon as drivers are qualified to operate, and hope to have the program up and running sometime late this September. This is incremental progress, to be sure, but to our senior constituents and their families rather, it'll be worth the effort in the end. Again, anyone interested in those remaining driver positions can go to Warwick Township website to submit an application to be a driver. And that's all I have for this evening. So we'll go to our clerk's report, Clerk Harden.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the presentation and approval of the August 15th, 2022 board meeting minutes, the presentation and approval of August 2022 FOIA report, and the presentation and approval of the July 2022 IDOT motor fuel tax allotment in the amount of $65,779.55. And that is all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We have the attorney's report and Joe Kanker with us. Joe?
I have no report, Mayor.
All right. All right, thank you. Next, engineer Will Dull.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a request for approval of an MFT resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code for the design and construction engineering of the resurfacing of various streets within the village. As you were stating in your report, this is for the $1 million of resurfacing that the village received from IDOT.
Thanks, Will. Will, I was in this too. I know you and Mike had a pre-construction meeting for this year's MFT street resurfacing. How did that go? Are we scheduled to start anything soon?
We just got notification today that they plan on starting Thursday with saw cutting.
This week?
Yeah,
Nice.
so
So this is going to be the southeast corner of town that we're going to do near Millard Street, you know that? So we're going to be doing Millard, 122nd Place, right? Mike, or Will, you can tell me, which streets are we
so it's Millard, 122nd Place and Street, 121st Street Place, as well as Platner by the boat launch.
So we're going to be redoing the road at Platinum Drive going to the boat launch?
Right, and then there's two sections of Austin Avenue on the southwest side
And
of
both
town.
is Austin.
Correct.
Over in Chippewa.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, okay. Again, it doesn't go very far.
It really doesn't, especially now.
How
So
long since those streets have been done?
Platinum when they put the boat launch in.
That road is absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
You know, but, about 30 years. About 30 years plus? Okay.
yeah, it's way beyond its time. So
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. Next, we have the public forum. Anybody in the audience wish to address the board tonight? If you do, we always ask for 3 or 5 minutes of your time.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I don't know if this is up, because I did not see the chair, and Juarez Mendoza here, regarding the cell phone tower at 128th and Lacrosse Avenue. I don't know what the status is of that.
It's up for next week.
Oh, for next week?
Right. Next Monday night. I've got it set for, well, it's a regular 7:30 meeting. So it's just meeting, we don't take a vote on it, but just the party that wanted to, who was asking for rezoning on the property over there, has a chance to present their case to the board, and it's just, that's all it is, it's just a presentation, and that's next Monday night.
And so the community cannot speak on it?
Oh, sure.
We can?
Yeah.
Okay. I was afraid of this. Okay, now we're properly prepared for next week. Thank you. That was it. That's, our neighborhood is very concerned, and we just wanted to let you all know that based on their own testimony, sworn testimony, that it doesn't meet the criteria of the neighborhood or the village. And I hope that it is seen with everyone here.
Understood. No, yeah, you can certainly, anybody here that wanted to speak to that, you can do that next Monday night, 7:30. It's just a committee meeting, and that doesn't go, if they goes to a vote, that wouldn't happen until like a week after that. So we don't vote on things at board meetings, not at committee meetings.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time and your service.
Sure.
Yes, I need to.
Anybody else?
Me?
Yeah. Hey, all right.
Hi. She brings up a tower, but now I have a question. Didn't think about it, I had forgotten about it. But on 122nd and Laramie, there's some type of tower. I don't know what it is. Can anyone tell me? I think it was installed maybe.
It's a 5G tower.
This is who?
It's a 5G tower.
A 5G.
It
And
could be.
and what purpose does it serve?
The 5G is,
Is this on the corner at the stop sign?
is it mounted to a pole?
Yes, the
Yeah.
stop sign pole.
That's probably what that is. It's probably a 5G.
Mini cell.
It's a 5G.
A small cell wireless.
Tower.
Right. That's what's called a small cell wireless, is what they call those.
Okay.
And
Cell service.
the government actually allows them to identify poles that they find necessary for connectivity, for internet, well, whatever use it is, like cell use and so forth, 911, you name it. But they can identify any pole they wish, and unless we have a real good reason why not to, they can pick any pole they want.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to clarify by government, it's not us.
No, it's the state, it's the state and federal government, it's FCC regulated, yeah.
Okay. I was hoping that it was catching some of the trucks that was flying through the south side and some of the other vehicles.
But there's some other stuff going on too, I think it was probably fiber optics.
Putting
or
fiber in.
something. Are they doing something underground too, or? They're doing all for the same?
Not to my knowledge at this time, but that is a brand new,
It isn't-
They're doing directional boring over there for fiber down Laramie.
That's what I thought. I saw a directional board truck coming out there.
Yeah, they've been in front of Station 2 all day today digging.
So, yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's one of those things too, the government says you can't prohibit, that you must allow.
Okay. It just didn't serve the purpose that I was hoping for, but what can I say? This is the reason to why I really came here tonight. Going back to the dumpster enclosures, I know I talked to you about this, Roger, but we have a 3-building association. This will put a financial burden even more so than what we have. We've already received 2 quotes. One 11,300, the other 7,600. Either way, then that means that we would have to have a special assessment or either increase in our assessment. As it stands on today, we can't even afford to get our carpets cleaned within the 3 buildings. Only reason why I know that is because I requested that today. But we only have $3,000 in our account. So come next year, this year, the year after next, we'll never be able to afford these enclosures. And not to mention, I still don't see the purpose. You know, I understand why, but that is going to cost us maintenance to keep up the enclosures. The people are not, and I know our people are not going to use them properly. If it means opening up a gate to trash, put in trash, they can't even open up the lid to put in the trash properly. So, you know, and then it's going to create trash around the dumpsters, which would be me who's picking up the trash. And and I don't know what else we can do about it, but we can't afford this.
I think what the event's referring to is the village is reinforcing an ordinance that's been on the books for, Roger, I forgot the date. How long is it?
early 60s.
Early 60s, that multifamily homes, anything with 3 units or more, are supposed to have a corral going around your dumpster to help contain those garbage cans and stuff too. Not only, improves the appearance of the garbage cans, but obviously designates a spot where garbage needs to go. And unfortunately, Roger and I, we've been on dumpster, patrol or whatever you want to call it, left and right, because there's some people that, they're near major streets, their garbage is overflowing. It's obvious the can that they release isn't sufficient to support the size of the household or dwelling it goes to. And now we're increasing that, and we're asking them to put these things up for the benefit of the safety and beautification of your community. And I know what you're saying. It's a tough thing to do, and I certainly can work with the building department. And we give everybody, from the time we meet with everybody, and we're asking a year's time. It might not all be complete in one year.
I understand that the deadline is like July
this
next
season
year.
and one next season. As long as we're making some progress, that's all we're looking for is compliance.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. We're using the preferred vendors from your site. These estimates or proposals are, it's just out of, if we have to pay more money, my assessment is already about $274 a month, and to have to spend for some dumpster
We
enclosures.
have some models in there, but we try to avoid paying referrals.
We did not do any referrals.
You don't have any lists? I don't.
No,
I
we
thought my
don't want to be responsible for any kind of cost not associated directly with the village.
Okay,
So we can give you some model ideas on how on the sizing, but that's certainly up to you, is to find, or your association, to locate a contractor who can put up a fence.
Even if you'd like, I'd be more than happy to meet out there and go through with you, as we discussed earlier.
Yes,
Using that brick wall and using 2 sides, or two gates, or not 2 gates, but 2 sections of fencing.
I can meet with you, but the thing is, I know nothing about, dumpsters, and I'm on the board, but I concern myself with the beautification of property, which is why I'm always picking up trash.
We're
But
not- We're not heavy-handed in this thing, we're just looking for compliance, and again, if we need to stretch it, as long as something's getting done, that's all we're looking for is compliance.
yes,
So,
it seems like we all are being punished for bad, bad actors, and we're not. We're not the bad actors. I know for certain because I ensure that in my, on my property that everything is neat. And I pick up all the Coca-Colas and all the other, trash up and down, in front of our property. So I just, when I saw these estimates, I received these proposals, so many other things that we need, like landscaping, which would beautify our property, but instead we have to buy some dumpster enclosures.
I would just recommend, Mr. Early could call, and if I need further conversation, we work for you, so if Roger call, he can meet you out there again.
Okay, Roger.
All right.
You just sign it, ma'am, please.
Anybody else? Good, sir.
I don't know, on that cell tower, if you guys approve it, you have to rezone that area, right?
It's just not reasonable, it's special use.
It's special, you're right.
Yeah,
Commercial
it's
one,
special use
you
going
got,
on.
you got right next to it is an apartment building.
Yeah.
So that lot there is special use?
No, it's zoned industrial, but.
It is on industrial?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but in order to put, because it's being used for this particular purpose, per our ordinance, it has to be deemed what's known as special use. And because it's not typical, it's not just
Right.
manufacturing or something like that.
Second thing, did the village or does a contractor have a health study on the tower?
It would be the onus, and that would be on the.
Well, the village should ask for that then. Before you guys make a decision on it, you should have a health study of cell towers. There's enough around here, and there's enough in the country that there are studies that should be brought in before approval is given.
Well, it would be, the onus on that would be on the.
Right, they make them bring it in too.
Yeah, on the organization asking for it. They have to prove up their case.
Right, and that's why has a village asked for a,
We've asked them to bring everything. I actually told, in this case, I think it's AT&T or one of their contractors, I told them to bring everything they have to substantiate what they're asking for. So,
well, yeah, I would specifically ask them for a health study because they're gonna play dumb if you don't ask for that health study.
yeah. And on the other side too, if you were in opposition of this particular thing, bring it yourself too. I mean, you're going to have 3 to 5 minutes yourself to just say, listen, I've got a study I'd like to present, and here's what I got. So,
Right. But you guys are supposed to be represented, so
Oh, we
it's
do.
not, you know what I'm saying? It's more power coming from you guys asking these guys to conform to what you guys are asking for.
Sure.
Than, Joe Schmo.
And actually, we're getting direction, and certainly we want to walk into a meeting like that being well informed.
Right.
So I have asked our one of Joe's associates, Elizabeth Hatter, to one of the other attorneys to give us some guidance on this as well too. What are we looking at in a case like this? Because we have to make a great decision on this as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Bob Klebracki, lived in Alsip for 38 years. I live about 2 blocks from where that tower is proposed. Maybe I'm shooting a gun here, but they're not going to stop AT&T from putting up a tower because the 5G is way in the future. It's faster. What we're concerned about is the location of this tower. This tower is mostly benefiting, from what I understand, was Crestwood. I did a lot of research on this. I'll be here next Monday also. Pros and cons. Basically, they've been doing studies on this since 1990, and there's over 40, this is from Forbes magazine, there's over 4,500 physicians as of now signed against 5G because there's not enough studies done on it. But 5G is the way of the future. What people in that area are concerned with the location of the tower. They want to move maybe in Crestwood or away from that specific area. Basically what I read is that the best location of these towers is at least between 400 and 500 meters away from people. Okay? I don't know what a meter is per se. Basically there's 1,600 meters in a mile. So that's 1/3 of a mile. All those buildings around there are not 1/3 of a mile from where they want that location. And they said those towers are the low frequency towers, okay, which mostly affects kids. So they gotta move the tower, not that location. It has to be somewhere else. I know that guy will be getting money for the tower location. I don't know, hopefully you guys will be too. But if it benefits Crestwood, put it in Crestwood. I don't know why the OTB didn't want it in the OTB, but they want it over here for some reason, because I know why the guy wants it there, because he's getting money. But all the people up and down that block don't want it in that location. Because basically, there's not enough studies on 5G as of today. And there's, like I said, 5,000 physicians are putting their names to paper. That's in Forbes magazine. So, like I said, there's a lot of pros and cons each way. You're not going to stop the money. You're not going to stop AT&T, but you can stop that location. That's all we're asking. And that's what my tax dollars are paying for. So, thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? No? All right, well, thanks so much, Mr. Carter. Thank you. Next, we'll go to our standing committee reports. Start with Finance and IT. Trustee McClure.
First, I have a request for approval of a list of payroll dated August 26, 2022, totaling $418,731.82. Next, I have a request for approval of a list of accounts payable dated September 6, 2022. Let me recap. General Fund, $390,035.17. Road and Bridge, $26,282.55. Storm Sewer, $2,905.50. MFT, $3,829.27. Pulaski TIF, $242 even. Liability and workers' comp insurance, $37,857.10. Water and sewer, $966,093.98. Sanitary sewers, $223.35. Heritage, $330,080.87. Retiree health insurance, $43,224.07. For a grand total all funds of $1,718,773.86. Next, I have a resolution to establish an other post-employment benefits for the Village of Alsip, County, Illinois. Then approval of the Village of Alsip OPEB Trust Section 115 Trust Agreement. Everybody should have, and that's all I have.
Trish, you want to comment on that at all, sir?
We have the players in place. We have the, we're setting up the accounts. This is just putting the documentation in place and the approvals for that. So that's what these documents are about. We can fill in the blanks now and proceed forward.
This is actually basically, this is a formality because we've already put everything else in place. We just have to adopt a resolution and Joe Kinker draft that for us. Okay. Thank you. Joe, just something we should be talking about? No, I drafted it up. You're okay? All right. All right, thank you. We'll go to our next report. Fire Committee, Trustee Murphy.
I have approval to draft, advertise, and extend funds for an RFP, request for proposal, for an independent contractor regarding the Alsip Fire Department manpower. And second, on your agendas, I have a motion for Chief Szynski to attend the Fire Chiefs, the annual Illinois Fire Chiefs Association annual conference in Peoria, Illinois, from October 16th through the 19th at a cost of approximately $860. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right.
Mayor, a question.
Yes.
Is this something that the fire department can do with request for the manpower study?
You know what? We actually, we spoke to this, we're in the middle of contract negotiations right now, and the chief last week and asked the chief to give me a staffing study, but an actual manpower study. Chief, we did explain to the fire union that we would preferably do that, but they hadn't done so.
Correct.
And certainly, the onus could be placed on them, but I can't make them assume that cost. Certainly, in a case like this, I'm not sure what the expense is going to be yet, and our village attorney, Mike Henker, who's involved in negotiations,
Right.
said this could run anywhere from 30 to 40.
It's about 40,000 is probably about average for a manpower study. Yeah, it's about average.
So certainly, I mean, yes, certainly the fire department could assume those costs under their union, not under the department guys. But that the other would be is if we did solicit RFPs and we got back numbers that we didn't think were reasonable, you can certainly reject the entire process too. Much as the case we just did with an iron fence that ran around the village property. They were twice what we thought they were going to be, 3 times. And we're not doing these exercises to make people work for us, but they have an idea, our concept. I actually looked this up online, Trustee Dalzell, Friday and today. And you don't get a lot online to actually tell you what it costs or something like that. So
There's too many variables.
Exactly. So the only thing we can do is, if the board does approve to at least solicit an RFP, and we feel the cost is too much, we can certainly reject it and scrap that whole idea.
Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Next, we have the police and traffic safety report, Trustee Alsip.
I have nothing for this evening's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll go to public work and boat launch, Trustee, she's not here, committee.
No report tonight, Mayor.
We're going to have some conversation coming up too. I talked to Superintendent Fryer today. Next season's budget regarding boat launch. We're going to have to really evaluate whether we replace some of that boat launch docking out there. And how old is that stuff, Mike?
At least 42 years.
42 years old. It's actually a floating dock that's off the Calsag Channel. The other problem is with the two, Mike, we had some significant damage on the thing. We don't know if a boat hit it or whatever and stuff there too, but I'm talking to IT right now about possibly more security and everything else down there too. But again, you can't see your hand in front of your face sometimes when you're on that water down there. So we're going to have to evaluate that and see what looks fair. Next, we got the sewer and water report. Trustee Navas Garza.
Oh, he's trying to drink some water. I have no update this evening.
Okay. Thank you. We'll go to Building and Health Committee. Trustee President. I'll have my sheet.
Trustee Dalzell.
The approval of property control sheet deleting non-functioning martingale folding machine shared by the Building and Water Department. Presentation and approval of the July 2022 Building Department monthly activity report. A presentation and approval of the July 2022 Health Department monthly activity report. And finally, the approval to allow Southside's Bar, located at 11858 South Cicero, to host an outdoor party fundraiser sponsored by the Nameless Few Motorcycle Club. On September 10th, the event will be featuring a band outside and just cooking hot dogs and burgers on the grill. That's all I have, Mayor.
Ms. Lizette, who owns Southside's asked if she needed to be here, and I told her I didn't feel she did. I have attended this event before. It's a good event, and I guess that's all I'll say about this event. But we've never had any problems with this in the past. The other was Roger. I wanted to just confirm, as Trustee Dalzell just read, this is a non-functional, it doesn't work, the folding machine.
That is correct. It has not worked in at least about 7 months now.
Okay, so it is a village asset. We're disposing of it. When we just make it public that we're disposing of something.
That is correct.
Okay. Next, we did human resource and insurance. We'll go on to special committee reports, economic development, Trustee Navas Garza.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to provide an update regarding a proposed development. I did attend the Plan Commission meeting last week, August 31st. regarding changing zoning from R1 to an R3 for the property at 12000 South Hamlet Ave. And just to summarize some of the comments made by the residents, they weren't against the entity trying to develop independently the property, but they were opposed to the proposed development, more so the scale. Some of the comments made were the existing use is primarily single-family residential from Pulaski east to Hamlin, and also south of 119th and north of 123rd. So I just wanted to share some of their concerns, and also for those that might be tuning into some of our public meetings as well, and want to know what the next steps are regarding that proposed development. I know the Plan Commission, they tabled the item and asked for the developer or the entity proposing development there to come back and perhaps a smaller scale for the proposed use. So they were proposing a 3-story development with 25 apartments, and I don't know the date at this time for those that might be listening. The residents have reached out to me. They won't actually came to my house and asked for a conversation and so forth. So I look forward to communicating with that resident and hearing what their concerns are. But I just wanted to provide an update and also acknowledge that I was present at the meeting as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. I also want to add, just to share on our economic development. Last week, I can't see who at this time, but myself, my assistant Becky, and our building commissioner Roger Early, we met with a major financial establishment thinking about building something here in our town, and we identified properties with them, things to consider. And today we had a great meeting with a group of investors looking at the Chateau Boucher. And it might happen too, that we might have some interest in that over there too. So it was a great talk with those folks today. So we are working hard to keep the community working, and obviously trying to keep bringing in investors here too. So, thank you. Next we have what is it? Village properties. Thank you, Trustee Ballhorn.
First, I have the presentation and approval of the July 2022 Heritage Monthly Activity Report. This is a brand new report this month that I worked on with our property management firm to just be able to share basic information of what's going on with the complexes. Just to keep the board informed, if anybody has any comments or suggestions on additional information you'd like to see, just let me know and I'll work that out with them. But I thought this was a great start in helping us to know how much turnover we've got on the big projects that are going on.
It was a really good report. HRE's doing a great job representing the apartments.
So, and then also what I have is a request for approval to lease a Christmas tree for the 2022 season and have it installed at Alsip Veteran Plaza.
So I put that on the agenda, trustees, or typically I would have waited until committee to do something like this. My assistant Becky's here. Becky, if you can grab a mic, can you speak to this real quick? And Becky's saying because of Christmas coming, you're actually, like everything else in this world, you're seeing people make these commitments quicker, sooner than later.
Right. Yeah. So,
real quick, I want to frame this too real quick too. The tree we were using was originally donated from FIM. It was over 40 foot tall. We couldn't even reach the top of the tree with our equipment. Our cherry picker wouldn't go that high. We were renting equipment to get up that high, Mike, right?
Right.
And then at some point too, now that tree came from California, I think originally, something like that. It came from halfway across the country, I remember that. And every year, we have to weld it back together, it's falling apart. And you're telling me now too that even the greenery that hangs on there is depleting, right?
The branches are literally falling apart as we try to install them.
So the branches are falling apart.
Yeah.
And to find replacement stuff really isn't all that readily available. So we're considering possibly leasing something, and that's what Becky put together. Becky, go ahead. You want to speak to this?
well, it went in your packets. So I talked to at least 3 or 4 different companies. This company reached out to us the price, and this company is actually willing to give us money for our old tree. They have to look at it, so anywhere between $1,000 to $2,500 they will give us credit for. For a 40-foot tree or a 35-foot tree, if we do a 3-year contract with them, would be, what did I put on there? $5,950 a year. But that's not including what they'll give us for the tree, which then they'll separate it out in they'll divide it up 3 ways. They come, they put it up, it's decorated, lights, the whole big thing, and then they come and take it down and take it. We don't have to store it. We can get rid of our old tree, which I know it's in the water tower right now, so it's a mess. So I did get, like I said, this company is the cheapest, and I've looked into them, and they're very good. I talked to Mike about it. With his manpower being, they don't have as many guys right now. It takes them a long time to put it up, and then to store it is even worse. So
From start to finish, now, I know over the last couple of years, that tree is getting shorter because we couldn't reach it, and the metal and everything's been falling apart. I know last year we had to hire your guys work as welders just to kind of reconstruct it and stuff there too. How tall is that tree right now?
30 foot.
30 foot? Okay. And what's the diameter in that ballpark,
It's about 26 foot round.
26 foot round, about 30 foot tall.
Correct.
Okay. And we actually did put in a pad, we've got electric there and everything else, and as Becky said, in this case, a contractor will bring it in every year, throw it up, take it down, take it away. Mike, from start to finish, when we put up that Christmas tree, how many man hours do you think? In other words, overall, going up, going down?
I can tell you that the cost is over $9,000.
$9 grand.
Put it up and take it down.
In time-wise, how much time do you think it takes to put that thing up?
It's 10 days.
10 days. Because I watched, and it's no picnic and stuff yet, so they gotta cart that thing over there, they gotta get it out. How many guys are putting that thing out?
Usually 4 to 5.
About 4 or 5 guys. Yeah. Becky made a recommendation, what we're looking at, is the first suggestion here was it could be a 25-foot lighted and decorated outdoor tree, lighted with C9 LED commercial lion lamps is what that's called. A 3-year contract would be $3,500 per year for 22, 23, and 2024 to include setup, takedown, storage, and insurance for $3,500. If you upsize that thing a little bit, you go to a 30-foot, it's $4,550 per season. Upsize it again to 35-foot, you're at $5,950 per season to do something like that. We left this kind of blank on here. Should the board decide they want to approve this evening, and we can certainly have a quick discussion on what we're comfortable with. But before I say where I am, if we have any opinion by the board.
What do other municipalities do? I mean, do they lease or do they just purchase? It sounds like they would have like a set budget and then make a decision from there.
Most municipalities I know use these type of trees.
Mike's not mic'd up here, but the superintendent's, and we're being recorded here, folks, not you folks, but we are. This is all YouTube, our meetings. And Mike says that most municipalities do lease their trees.
Right.
So they gotta be doing something similar here anyway.
right. And the only reason why I wanted to get this done now is because there's not a big handful of people who do this. So if you go online and you look, a lot of them I was looking at, they're all like in a different state and they won't even come here. So we have to deal with what's around us. These guys are over an hour away, but they're going to come here to do it. I even gave you guys prices for how much a brand new tree would be if we were to purchase one, and you're talking about $50,000 to $60,000 for a tree. But now you got to have the guys do it, pit it up, you have to store it, and all that stuff. So.
Any comment, Trustee Murphy?
Yeah, I think that we're saving $3 grand just by leasing it in manpower. It's a win.
I think we should at least get a consensus on what size. Everybody's got a price in front of them to at least agree on what size to go with here, too.
It's going to be an added expense regardless.
Yeah.
So the savings certainly in the work output that Mike's people, they'll be able to concentrate on the work at hand rather than the additional holiday aspect of it. Makes all the sense in the world, especially with what we've seen between the storage of it and to have this company come in. It seems to me to be a rather insignificant expense.
So, I'd like to at least just look into which number we're going to support. Clerk Harding, can you just get a consensus?
I took the consensus at 30-foot tree at 59.
Well, no, what we're saying is, do you want 25, 30, or 35 foot? That's the question.
So not a yes or no.
Right. 25, 30, or 35?
Or if you want to go to a 40 or 60-foot tree, we can do that too.
That's where we had no problem. We didn't get up that tall and service that tree.
Well, Roger's opinion is go big or go home.
Go big or go home. Yeah, go big or go home. And it's like, that 40-footer went up to like $8,900, which I think is a little steep. I don't think we need to go so tall. I was happy with the 25, 30 foot,
Well, I was just basing the 30-foot tree because Mike said that we kind of got, like, what did you say, was it 25 now, or 25 foot now?
30.
It's 30, so it would be the same as what we have now if we went with, or no, it would be 5 feet more if we went with the 5950 is what I was going for.
So as you said, thank you, Mr. Frederick, for, obviously we need to understand numbers and so forth here and costs. I'm going to save a little money. That's the idea at the end of the day. So, good. Okay, if you want to pull everybody with size.
I just had a question. So the existing tree, or the one that was used last year was 30.
Correct.
And then was there any comment from the public in regards to like the size, like, or the, like, is it more ornaments or any feedback like that, or any complaints?
No, there's no complaints other than just it's not structurally sound anymore.
I think they questioned why it was blue.
Okay.
Maybe it was cold.
That's right.
Like you said, there's a lot of handling there on our side. We've got other things, and we're trying to keep up. And we always try to get that done right around Thanksgiving time, get ready for the holiday season and all that kind of thing. Go ahead.
All right, roll call number 1. I need a consensus. Please advise if you prefer the 25-foot, 30-foot, or 35-foot tree. Trustee Dalzell.
30 foot, please.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin.
30-foot.
Trustee Murphy.
30 foot.
Trustee Navas Garza.
I'm going to say 35, but I'll go with the group 30.
And Trustee Coretta is absent, so it looks like consensus is 30-foot.
So you get 4 people agree for that. That's fine. All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Next on the agenda, we have Ordinance Legislation Committee
No report this evening, Your Honor.
report, and then Planning and Zoning Licenses Committee.
I have a request for approval of a list of licenses dated Monday, August 8th, 2022 through Tuesday, September 6th, 2022. And within that list of licenses, I would like to welcome Global Specialty Steel, LLC, will be located at 4135 West 126th Street, and they will handle steel distribution. Also, we would like to welcome Statewide Security and Safety Group, LLC, who will be located at 11933 South Pulaski. That is in the remodeled offices where Dr. Watt is. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Next, we have presentations, petitions, and communications. And on your agenda this evening, we're placing it on drafted on behalf of Trustee Alsip. Go ahead, Trustee.
I'd request that the village approve an honorary street designation made in the name of Bob Stroba. Bob, who had served our country as a member of the U.S. Air Force 1951 through 1953, became Alsip president in 1956, raising 4 children here, served as an Alsip volunteer fireman and a part-time policeman in the 1950s. He served as an Alsip Little League coach, board member, and president of the United Way of Alsip chapter. He was elected to office as the Alsip village clerk from 1961 through 65, re-elected to a term from 65 through 67, elected to office as village trustee from 1973 through 77, and re-elected 1977 through 1981. He spearheaded the planning and construction of the original Alsip Village Hall in 1962, both of the fire stations in 1975, and the Alsip Public Safety Building and Village Hall remodeling, which was in 1976. Bob had provided visionary leadership style, which advanced the collaboration of the various municipal departments to move forward and best address the needs of the community, and made many significant long-term contributions to the Village of Alsip development, administration, and operations. He's an individual with a diverse and distinguished career spanning 3 decades, and has brought to the village many notable achievements made while a resident of the village. It's a honorary designation which will be located between 122nd and 123rd on Orchard Avenue.
That was a great summary. This was my summation. Trustee, thank you for sending me all the information on Mr. Sturba. I didn't know, I've certainly heard of him, but I didn't know this much about him. His commitment to the community was certainly notable here, too, and certainly worthy of, in my opinion, worthy of a honorary street designation, honoring Bob. Like you said, he did all his work right here, and certainly to make this a quality looking, not just looking establishment, but quality building to with which we have our business here at the Village Hall. Trustee, any comments or anything before we go over that? Okay, Trustee, thank you very much for bringing that to our attention, and certainly
Mayor?
hope that we
Mayor?
Yes.
Could I make one comment? I know these mics aren't working. I'm going through the paperwork. I'm going through the paperwork out in the garage, and there's paperwork with his name on it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No,
As village clerk.
We have a storage locker outside that we're now scanning all of our paper documents for electronic retention. And yeah, it's interesting.
He's village clerk, yeah.
The 60s and stuff
Yep.
like that, yeah, too, yeah. Well, thank you very much. Anybody else have anything to any communications or anything like that? All right. Did anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda?
I would like to remove letter J and letter P.
J's and John?
J is in John, P is in Paul.
Anybody else? And what's that? Yes, please remove letter O. We're going to set up another committee meeting to discuss that. Can I get a motion then to establish a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call number 2 to establish consent agenda. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Nava Sparza.
Yes.
Trustee Peretta is absent. Motion carries to establish consent agenda.
Thank you. Can I get a motion then to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call number 3 to approve consent agenda. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Nava Sparza.
Yes.
Trustee Peretta is absent. Motion carries to approve consent agenda.
We have those numbers put into the,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
thank you.
It's been a few weeks, hasn't it? Item A, excuse me, approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Alcoholic Beverages and Liquor Control, Article 2, Administration and Enforcement, Division 2, License, Section 4-69, limitation on the total number of licenses of the municipal code of the Village of Alsip, will now be known as Ordinance 2022-09-1. Item E, approval of an MFT resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code for the design and construction engineering of the resurfacing of various roads within the village. The village has been granted $1 million of construction funding from the Rebuild Illinois Bond to pay for this project. Will now be known as Resolution 2022-09-1. Item H, a resolution to establish an other post-employment benefits trust for the village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois. Will now be known as Resolution 2022-09-2. And item N, approval of a resolution appointing the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund authorized agent for the village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois. Will now be known as Resolution 2022-09-3.
Thank you very much. And congratulations, again, thank you for Trustee Dalzell for honoring Mr. Robert Sturba. And Orchard Street will now be known at 123rd and 122nd Street will be now known as Trustee Bob D. Sturba Way.
Yeah. And his name is really Bob.
So it really is okay.
In fact, the cornerstone for the head of the P recast because it was originally said as Robert, and his name is on his birth certificate was Bob.
That's right. I mean, because I've seen it dozens of times as I go in the hall here and stuff too. So thank you again. This will be Trustee Bob D. As in David Sturba Way. Is that his middle name? Do you know offhand?
Oh, that's correct.
Okay. Because I know Dave Sturba, remember, Justice Sturba, right?
That's his son, that.
Okay. Congratulations. Thank you. And certainly we congratulate the Sturba family. We'll go back to two items that were removed. The first was letter J, approval to draft, advertise, and expend funds for an RFP, request for proposal from an independent contractor regarding the Alsip Fire Department manpower study. This was pulled by Trustee McGlowhorn. Before we take questions, I'd like to know if we have a motion and a second to approve it. This the way it stands. We do not. I always like to ask these questions before we approve an action like that, because certainly if we get into questions and we're not going anywhere then too. Trustee, you pulled this action. Did you have a question or statement to make about it?
No, actually, my intent for pulling it would be to ask that we table it until we can have an opportunity to talk further with Attorney King Johnson in regards to if we should do this or not do this.
You want to make that motion?
Yes, I will make a motion to table.
Is there a second to tabling this item?
I'd second that.
I will call for a roll call on that to table. Letter J.
Roll call number 4 to table item J, approval to draft, advertise, and expend funds for an RFP, request for proposal from an independent contractor regarding the Alsip Fire Department manpower. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McGlowhorn.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Garza.
Yes.
Trustee Coretta is absent. Motion carries to table item J.
Okay, thank you. Next was letter P, is involved approval to lease a Christmas tree for the 2000, and this was my mistake, Becky pointed this out. This is a 3-year agreement. This probably should read approval to lease a Christmas tree for a 3-year period.
And I say, Mayor, my reason for pulling this was specifically so we can clean it up.
Oh, yeah, no, that was my bad. I wrote that incorrectly, but
Well, plus we just decided that we're going with the 31st.
right, okay, so we can still vote on this here too, but, yes, that was my typo. It should read approval to lease a Christmas tree for a 3-year period, and we can put in there 2022, 23, and 2024, and have it installed at Veterans Plaza per board approval at the expense regardless of the trade, and this will be, according to what Becky got her, $45.50 per season. So I still need a motion and a second to approve this.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, roll call number 5 to approve item P. Trustee Delta.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McGlowhorn.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Garza.
Yes.
Trustee Coretta is absent. Motion carries to approve item P.
Thank you, everyone. Did anybody have any unfinished business? Any new business? Very good. Can I get a motion then to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We're going to adjourn this meeting at 8:37 p.m. And thanks for everybody joining us tonight, too. If there's any students in the audience, if you need an autograph on your agenda to show school you were here, please step up. Anybody can sign this. Enjoy your evening.